Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new episode of Frontline Warriors. In this particular episode, we'll be talking to Mr. Vijay Kumar RS, who has been my boss in the past and I can vouch for his leadership capacity. He has been a great industry leader, also a very big industry veteran. So let's get ahead into the video and get some amazing insights about the industry from him.
So thank you, sir, for joining us today. Now, I have personally worked under you, so I know how great a leader you are in the industry. And being an industry veteran, your knowledge would definitely help people in gaining. For example, with LearnMall, we have had many students who do not know what they want to become or what the industry should be or what they should expect when entering the industry. So that would definitely help us. Your knowledge would definitely help them in understanding the industry definitely much better. So thank you so much again, sir, for joining us today.
Raj, I still remember very vividly the days we worked together at HP and how I used to depend on you and how we identified the knowledge and the skill you have other than your that particular role. So, and looking at your growth, I'm really happy.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, sir, to start with, there is one basic question. Now, considering the present scenario and everything, there is one question which pops up in everybody's mind. Is because the year 2020 has not been what it was supposed to be like, right? And considering that,
Yeah.
how do you feel that the industry has changed because of the pandemic?
Okay. Nowadays, these are all hot topics. Uh, Raj, in my view, within India,
Mhm,
majorly, I'm talking within India instead of generally making it globalizing.
mhm,
Our agriculture segment is about 50% where it is employed. The
mhm,
employees are there. Not just the direct agriculture, farming, or anything, including agriculture and related field is about 50% employment, and industries are about 27% employment, and services is about rest of 35-36% of employment.
mhm,
Okay, however, the revenue, the contribution from agriculture to Indian economy is about 15%, and services is about 50%. Though the employment within services is much less compared to agriculture. So the industries which are in the kind of suspended mode, if we can call it, which are affected are majorly in the services industry, like agriculture, for that matter, and all are continuing for now, right? Because that's where more employment is there, where people cannot work from home, they have to be at the field. So currently we are in the computer term we say system froze, freezing, whatever. So we are in that suspended freezing mode. Uh, this will not last forever, anyways, as we know. But this is not going to go away, in my opinion, before end of this year, before December. Till the vaccine is available, which may not be before December, anyways, or even if it comes earlier, till it reaches the entire population.
mhm.
Uh, but after the second wave, I don't think so. It is as scary as it was earlier. Uh, Normalization is happening. The industries are coming back into where they were. Though may not be at the same level, same rate. Everything is starting except barring few industries like movie, hospitality, hotel, and those industries. So it is coming back. Normalization is happening, and 2021 should be better.
We expect the same too. Now, in the same regard, right, what has happened is that many companies have put a freeze on hiring or have slowed down hiring.
Mhm,
So, do you think
mhm.
this thing will carry on in the future as well? Like, is it going to last or stay, or is it just a temporary thing until the pandemic situation remains?
Every company wants to grow. Raj.
Mhm.
Just by the hiring is just a stopgap solution, or maybe that's where they wanted to react to the situation and continue sustaining within the business, within the industry, the respective business or the respective industry. But hiring will have to resume because no one wants to just be at where they are today and no one starts the organization or run the business just to get the basic revenue, basic profit, etc. Everyone wants to grow, and most of these industries are not robot controlled, so they need people, they need resources, they need human capital. So definitely the hiring will start. May not be in the next 2 quarters, but it has to start. Uh, it may not gain the momentum immediately, but definitely it will gain the momentum after 2 3 quarters.
Mm.
However, uh, the type of resources people start looking at or hiring may change slowly, or even the compensation may change. Raj.
Okay.
Okay, so people with multi-skill would be preferred probably. Uh, Work from home maybe to some extent, though I don't agree that it is applicable to all the sectors. That may be that may continue in some industries, some services, probably. Uh, so hiring will start. People should continue their learning and development, not just stop and start looking at any alternatives. If chosen field, if they have decided on what they want to be, what is their goal, they should continue their learning and be prepared.
So, as you mentioned, sir, about work from home, the next question actually comes that now, because of this entire situation, many companies, obviously almost all companies, because of the lockdown, have adopted for a work from home strategy. Now, from what the situation is and the news is that many global companies might move to a more work from home situation where they might look at it at a very longer stage. Like, for, for example, many companies have already announced that till 2021 end or 2022 mid, they are going to work from home. They have given their employees work from home. So, what do you think of the entire situation of working from home? Because before that, it was more in office thing, and suddenly this dramatic shift happened. So, do you think it? What do you think of the entire situation?
Again, I mentioned in the beginning, if we take India for example,
Mhm,
IT is not the major employment contributor.
mhm,
Correct? It is production industry and the agriculture sector, related to agriculture sector, food processing, etc. So work from home, if you look at it, it's happening only in IT enabled services and IT related industries, and also online education, schools, colleges. That's what is happening majorly. Uh, and first of all, I don't know if you should call it as work from home or work at home. uh, Normalization is happening. So I am not in total agreement with whatever uh, we are seeing in the WhatsApp or in the social media, because all this data is without any science or without any logic. Just because some companies move to work from home, some Indian companies did mention that by 2022, 75% or 50% of their employees will work from home, etc. That is again maybe within one segment of the industry, but rest of the segments, Raj, for that matter, like production, industrial, automobile, uh, fertilizers, things like that, and the movie industry, they all cannot work from home. They have to be back on the field and working. So some segment may continue. Uh, there may be a mix of reaction once the organizations start announcing that they want to start working from office or something. But again, that will also get into normalization. Uh, in my view, it may continue for in some segments at some percentage, but it will not be at the same rate, definitely.
definitely. The work from home situation, as you mentioned about the agriculture and other industries, India being a primarily agricultural country, obviously, it's the possibility is quite less in that
Yeah,
scenario.
yeah, yeah. You cannot sit at home and work on the agriculture. Uh, those are the flip sides of it, Raj. See, for that matter, someone cannot learn swimming by watching YouTube. They have to
Mm,
get into a swimming pool,
mm,
correct? So they cannot learn sitting at home. There will be some pros and cons of working from home, especially for IT and services sector. Uh, uh, especially a person like me probably will miss my friends in the office if I continue to work from home.
That is definitely there. Social life, considering the major IT workforce and everything, their social life much depends on the workplace interaction that people have. So that
Yeah,
definitely plays a major
yeah,
factor.
correct, correct.
So
Yeah.
one more trend, sir, during the pandemic, which we have seen, is basically the growth of the edtech industry in India. Now, considering the work from home situation and everything, um, almost all companies, even on the company that we worked together, there was a e-learning medium provided to all employees for upskilling and reskilling. So, do you
Mhm.
think how important is basically the upskilling and reskilling in the industry? How important it is for an employee to use those mediums to upskill or reskill themselves?
Okay. Uh, we need to first define, maybe for the benefit of audience, if they are
Mhm,
very young and who are looking for employment opportunities,
mhm.
working on some online courses, we need to define upskilling and reskilling for them. But before that, who wants to become obsolete?
Mm.
Who wants to retire doing the same job grade at the same salary? If someone is not more than 10, 15 years old in that company, no one wants to retire doing the same job uh, at the same job grade or at the same pay scale. Barring maybe there may be 1% exception. Otherwise, everyone wants to learn and grow. So this continuous learning should be there, for which upskilling is really important. Upskilling, if we have to define, it is to continue to do your job better in your current role. Okay, where if you are not doing in some segments, if you are not good, if your skills are not matching the expectations of your job or something, that's where upskilling comes into picture. That's where if someone is entry level, if someone is looking at online, their team leads or managers or their mentors can help them. Uh, so upskilling is very very important, and with the current situation, online mode is the best one for upskilling yourself because face to face or instructor led courses are not happening. And industries also, or the organizations also should move to e-learning mode. Uh, Probably they will also move into e-learning mode than the to face or instructor led trainings. So upskilling, no one should stop upskilling themselves. Coming to reskilling, Raj, uh, one should be very cautious while looking at the reskilling. Only if you want to totally change your job role, totally change your field, then you have to look at reskilling yourself. Uh, just because someone else is doing coding, you don't have to unnecessarily go and start studying coding after spending 5 years, 6 years, and after seeing one or two promotions in your current role as a fresher. So unnecessarily don't get into reskilling. It's always better to upskill, and only when you are ready, when you have that aptitude to change your field, look at reskilling yourself.
That definitely makes a lot of sense because one thing that we have always seen that uh, people who are presently in their current job roles basically are looking to reskill in a different domain, which is not relevant to the particular job role that they are in. And that is quite rampant because of the presence of e-learning. So that is definitely something that people should notice about it.
Yeah, and the organizations should inspire and empower their people to upskill themselves, especially through e-medium, e-learning medium. Uh, Companies are doing, but there should be more inspiration and empowerment given to the people, or the people should claim their empowerment and get inspired and start learning and upskilling themselves.
Definitely, definitely. So one more question which comes up is that now we have had many students who are basically when they basically buy courses from our platform and anything, the first question that comes in their mind is, will this course helped me get a job. Now, one thing, now I know that you are the best person to answer this, is that consider when a student enters their job or an entry level professional enters their first job. So, what should they be looking forward to? What should be their priorities when somebody enters a new job?
Uh, okay. So you combined two things. One is you said students. So when you said students, they're learning on learn mark is what you meant, not still in their academics doing their
No,
degree or
so
something. Correct?
by students, what could I actually mean freshers also who enter the industry. Now,
Okay.
the
Okay.
majority
So
of people on our platform are actually, if you look at it, most of them are freshers who are trying to make most of the pandemic situation to upskill themselves through e-learning, and then basically try to get placed in a job. So they are not entry level people who are just entering into the industry.
hmm, okay. Once you said priority, what struck my mind was Maslow's theory of hierarchy or theory of hierarchy of needs. Anyways, uh, so two things. So let us split your question. One is for the students who are yet to join or who are preparing themselves to for a new job or a new career, and one who are already in the entry level. Okay, who have joined a company and who are already in the entry level or in a basic position as a fresher, they would have joined, etc. For the students, uh, you should with what I say normally, even when earlier when I used to take some classes of freshers, etc. First thing is your product of your choice. Okay, no one are forcing you, no one are asking you to join TCS. You are the one who is choosing. So you are the product of your choice. So choose wisely. To choose wisely, do you know what goals you have, what you want to achieve in that field? Never pick up some job just for another job. Or as a fresher, let me join some job and then let me see with that experience if I can uh, take another role or something, or if I can perform and get promotion. Choose wisely, uh, and then have your goals. And I suggest you prepare a skill matrix. This is applicable for both students as well as for the entry people. You have a skill matrix of your own. Maybe let me bring up one which I prepared a couple of months ago. Uh, the skill metrics, Raj, they should look at the internet. They should have decided what is that role they want to be, what is that kind of job they want to get into, and from that job, what is that career they want to build. Because no one
Mhm.
wants to join just for a job, they have to build a career. For that career, what is that long-term, short-term goal, and what is that they have to learn. So browse the internet, look at type of job profiles which are advertised on various companies, look at what is the skills they are looking for in a candidate to build a career in their company, and then make a list, bring that up. Okay. Not sure if this is on the screen.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Yeah, there's a simple skill matrix which I used to show in my team earlier. So come up with that description. Look at the column description, and if you have identified what is that skill you want, like skill one, skill two, skill three. For example, art of listening. If you want to get into a customer support industry, or time management, because time management everyone has to learn. That will actually from the time management you will become more disciplined and more focused. So identify what is that skills you want, skills you have to develop, and what is your proficiency with that out of three. Like if you are zero, or if you think you are there with one of three, or if you are if you don't have any knowledge, so make a list of it and see how important it is for that job, high, medium, low, etc. And what is the learning medium you want to select, and then due date. You set yourself a due date because if you don't set yourself a due date, you will keep procrastinating. You will keep saying, "I'll do it tomorrow. Let me do it day after.
Mhm.
Let me play some games today, online games." Yeah. So people would be in that mode. So have your own skill metrics prepared uh, and start working on it. So that's what I suggest the students. You should have your goals clear because you are product of your own choice again. Have your skill metrics and uh, go work on that. And for the entry level, uh, Raj, uh, the organizations should look at making their basics very good. Uh, their basics should be very concrete, so they should learn the basics what is required for the job role very well. From the organization perspective, what I'm telling, how they have to improve their entry level and what skills they may not have in the job. They may not be all that good with the time management. Okay, organizations should spend some time and energy and money in educating them on time management, making them understand the passive, reactive, and proactive type of people because either you perish or you maybe you sail through or you will grow basis whether you are a passive, reactive, or a proactive type of person. So that's my advice when they join as entry level. But when you join as an entry level in the beginning, so you learn with an intent. Person should learn with an intent. If organization asks you to attend some training, just don't go see it as if another one more training. Because a fresher should be fresh from the college. They will know how to crack the exams or the tests or something, and they will know how to remember a couple of things by heart and finish the training and come out with flying color. But that may not help later. So they should learn with an intent, learn some discipline, and learn. They should learn to take feedback. Raj, you would know that, right? Because in the school, colleges, or even when you are learning some professional courses, not constructive feedback is not given to you. And feedback at that age, they think it as a complaint.
Yeah.
So learn to take feedback and work on your feedback. That's where the entry level people have to look at also.
So, sir, according to you, since you have worked with many entry-level people in the organization and with your experience, so what do you think is the one most important skill which is missing in entry-level employees or when somebody enters an organization fresh out of college? So, what do you think is that one skill which is missing in them?
Uh, Majorly, what I've noticed is interpersonal communication skills. Uh, because they would have chosen the industry and they would have that knowledge. Maybe like if they have selected for testing, they would have learned whatever tools for testing, etc. Those work related skills they would have developed or they would have acquired that knowledge, whatever required. But from the industry perspective, it is definitely interpersonal communication because this is something which we don't learn in our education system, correct? Uh, in our education system, it's all about rank, passing, percentage, all that. We don't give emphasis on the communication, so they should definitely work towards interpersonal communication uh, and some sort of discipline, be it from time management perspective or from self improvement, stress management. That is something which they would not be exposed to, and they need to focus on that. There are so many courses for interpersonal communication, even online courses. Probably before joining itself, they can get a feel of it, understand, and then join the companies there, so that they would be the choice of priority, and they are not an option for the organization.
Yeah,
And they
definitely,
should
sir.
to have a lot of patience the entry level because they cannot expect within 6 months, 9 months, 1 year to grow get to a double level promotion just because I'm good with this, I'm good with that. Yeah, they should have that patience.
Great. So this brings me actually so to one more question is that many people enter the industry and they are like, okay, within this span of time, I have to achieve this, or within this span of time, I should become this or that and everything. So when considering a fresh graduate or anything, what are the aspirations one should have when they enter the industry? Like, what are their ambitions? What their ambitions should be like?
Okay, let me get this question correct. So, someone is already working in an organization and are fresher, and how they have to start building their career,
Mm,
or how what can be their ambitions, and what is that we would have noticed in the industry.
yes, sir.
Okay, see, uh, even during my engineering day, uh, so everyone who is to join engineering those days, I'm talking about 1987, 88.
Mhm.
Okay, so everyone were thinking when they join, they come out of the college and they'll get into a job where they just have to sit and sign some papers. Okay, they get into some top position. That is not the reality. Okay, until unless you are such a top notch, which may be 1%, 2% with that nice skill. Otherwise, uh, it has to go according to a plan. It has to be based on your goals, uh, because having ambition or daydreaming is nothing wrong as long as you have a constructive plan around it. You work on your skill metrics, you work on your feedback, and you keep upskilling yourself. Uh, make use of lot of e-learning opportunities. There are paid courses, there are free courses. Make use of that. But you have one long-term goal, and there has to be some short-term goals which will lead you to that long-term goal. Uh, in a simple language which every Indian will understand, maybe probably uh, work towards becoming a MLA first, maybe then a minister in the state, then a MP, and then work towards becoming prime minister. Barring some exceptions. So that's just a simple example. So have some short-term goals which will lead you to your long-term goals and work accordingly.
Definitely. Short term people, what I have noticed is that people definitely have long term goals. But what they miss out is basically on the short term goal strategy. That it's
Yeah,
basically like a staircase. You need to have every step is like a short term goal, and ultimately you reach to the top, which is your long term goal.
very true.
So in that scenario, actually, there is one last question which we have. After shooting that
Yeah.
barrage of questions, there is one last question, I think, which is basically the most important one. So, being an industry veteran with such huge experience, having leadership uh, positions, holding leadership positions in esteemed companies. So, what is that one life lesson or an advice that you would like to share with the young generation? Because they might immensely benefit from your experience and knowledge.
Okay. To the India's next generation, to the India's young generation, uh, social media is not everything, and neither online games. Okay, don't waste too much of time only on the social media, etc. Uh, with that, you will become busy. It is not enough to be busy. Okay, uh, the question would be, what are you busy about? How are you using your time? How are you managing your time? So work on that. Just keep thinking, what am I busy about? What am I doing? What am I achieving with this? Will it help me with my career, with my work? But if you are still a student, okay, uh, if you are still in your academics, don't miss out the fun associated with your school or college. Yeah, you will not get that time later. You will start getting into career building, promotion, salary, next job, other company, perks, etc. Do enjoy your school or college life if you are in that, okay, with your cultural activities or sports or some hobbies. Don't miss out on that. but don't waste time. Don't waste time only on social media, etc. According to a survey, according to a study, where I also used to conduct a lot of classes on left brain, right brain, IQ, EQ, we used to tell that if your IQ is good, you will be good with your academics. However, if your EQ, which is emotional quotient, if your EQ is good, you will be successful in your life. So, along with studies, develop some EQ, emotional quotient, okay, and don't waste your time. And again, remember your product of your choice. So, work hard on that. There are, I can say, maybe this may be too much for someone who is very young, but normally we differentiate three types of people. One is those who make things happen, okay, and second category is those who wait for things to happen, and third is those who wonder what is happening. Okay, so try to be in the first category where you make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen or wondering what is happening around you. Yeah, that's my advice.
Definitely. So this session gave me a lot of learnings. For example, I came to know about the skill mapping. I came to know about many things. So it's been quite a pleasure, sir, talking to you. And thank you so much for taking out your time and talking to us. We are trying to do our
Yeah,
bit in bringing in the education revolution with LearnMall, where if you look
yeah,
at our, if you look at our platform, we are trying to basically mix affordability with quality at our platform. Because one thing we realize is
yeah,
that
very good.
India is not a market where you can sell e-learning courses and then try to educate the masses at a very high price. So that is something that we are definitely trying
Yeah,
to look forward and hope that we would be able to do so. Obviously, with
yeah,
guidance of people like you, hopefully we would be able to make it.
definitely. Right. And I did notice, and there are some really good courses and surprisingly at very affordable prices. So that's what I was surprised actually. And I looked at one or two which are really quality ones.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today.